Hello, my name is Lewis Knight and this is my submission for Unit 13 Technology and Sport Activity 2. This video vlog is just going to discuss two types of technologies that are used in sports performance analysis as well as just to gather data within sport and technology, and it will consist of wearable trackers and video analysis software. So firstly, we're just going to go through and discuss wearable trackers, covering all the aspects of it and just explaining them, and then going on to the other one for the second half and just explaining all of those as well, just to cover the criteria of discussing both of them. Now, the first technology is wearable trackers. We've gone specifically looking into smartwatches, which are a technology that is used in sports training to track aspects such as the heart rate, the calories burned, and the step count, which was referenced by Migliaccio, Padulo and Russo in 2024 with that information. As well as this, they offer the ability to download other fitness and performance tracking apps such as Strava, which are used by runners, which can increase the amount of performance tracking methods available on the platform to cover aspects such as the distance that they run, the altitude changes, and then the breakdown of the cardiovascular exercises timings per each distance covered. As well as the last little ability of being able to compare their performances to other friends or participants that might use the app, which was referenced by Rob Knowles and Overatveit in 2026. These technologies will predominantly be used by both the athlete and trainers in order to collect and store whatever data they can from training sessions, which was referenced by Alkan et al. In 2026. This data gathered can differ depending on the training session performed, the intensity of the athlete, and lastly, the sport in which the athlete is training for. However, there are common uses of this technology being used to collect data such as the heart rate of the athlete throughout the session, the fatigue and exertion levels of the athlete throughout the session, as well as lastly the sleep and recovery aspects that come after a training session, just to see how well the athlete is recovering from their training. And that was referenced by Pekas et al. In 2023. All of these data sources will be interpreted by trainers over prolonged periods of time and not just short, because it allows them to break down everything a lot more over how long they've been doing it for, to see if any changes happen over time compared to if they just happen within a week period. It might not be as scientifically backed and accurate. And they will be used to assess the overall training performance of an athlete and used to potentially alter aspects of either the athlete's training program or their rest and recovery in post-training in order to ensure the most efficient training program as well as performance in competition, which was referenced by Montalvo et al. In 2023. There are a wide variety of benefits and challenges that can be brought into case when examining the efficiency and importance of this type of technology in professional sport. The benefits that can be the variety of different smartwatches available nowadays, with there being a large variety of brands and options for people to choose from, such as, for example, you've got your typical Samsung smartwatches, you've got iPhone smartwatches, as well as just a variety of different brands that are not exactly backed for that piece of software, but they will happily link up through Bluetooth and just apply for every single scenario. However, with that, there is a challenge of the performance capability and the accuracy of these watches, with there being the lesser known brands, which we just mentioned, not having a large amount of evidence to back their accuracy, which leads to athletes and trainers typically leaning more towards the higher level brands and the higher costing ones to guarantee the efficiency and guarantee the scientific accuracy with that data they're collecting. However, and that was referenced by Tenenbaum et al. In 2025. Now, another benefit to using this technology is due to its environmental training capabilities, with it being able to be used in any environment for any level of physical activity, meaning that this level of versatility makes it for a viable option for athletes who either will go home and do extra sort of cardio training in their own time, as well as athletes who are regularly moving about for performances and not staying in one place, allowing them to bring an efficient sports tracking equipment wherever they go and provide the necessary data to trainers whilst they're on the road. And then lastly, there is a second challenge of the scientific accuracy of the data readings, with smartwatches being a highly common method of tracking the basic levels of performance data, such as the steps and heart rate, that normal people and not necessarily athletes might want to use. Companies will refrain from adding in the more in-depth tracking capabilities to keep the cost down, but to keep the average consumer happy, leading to large-scale pieces of equipment that are found in fitness testing labs still being the main go-to for this high-level data that is extremely accurate. And it also just helps the coaches who have access to this equipment not needing to have a worse version that they might use. And that was referenced by Dye et al. In 2025, as well as Casoli et al. In 2022. Now, on to the second piece of technology we are going to be discussing. It is video analysis software, such as an example being Hudl Sports Code, which is a software that is used by elite level clubs all over the world for sports such as football. However, it can be used for other sports such as basketball, American football, or just anything really where video analysis is needed in the sport. This technology is used either when tracking live performance or previous performances, and it allows the coaches to break down individual aspects of a performance to generate feedback for players and adapt training programs to improve individual aspects. As well as this, coaches will use this to compile video recordings from a performance for athletes to review and assess firsthand what they might need to adapt or what might be a strength, which was referenced by Wu et al. In 2022. This data will be essential for coaches specifically as it will allow them to analyse how an athlete might perform within the high pressure environment that is brought by an actual live performance, rather than just a small scale training session that might not matter as much to the athlete personally, which was referenced by Lin et al. In 2023. This sort of being in the high pressure environment will allow them to better check the athlete's physical performance when under this psychological stress, as well as their psychological performance throughout, to seeing how they react to the crowd, how they react to other teams or other performers whilst they're in that sport. With this technology, there are a wide number of benefits and challenges that can affect the quality of the data. A benefit of using this technology is that it uses recorded performances to analyse, meaning that in professional sport, where most performances are going to be recorded or even live on TV and stuff like that, it means that it's incredibly simple to access footage of the athlete that can be analysed, just creating that less sense of worry or difficulty for the trainers who can gather this data together nice and simply and break it down and analyse it either with the athlete or for the athlete. A second benefit of using this technology is that it can also help to prevent and reduce any injury risk in an athlete's techniques and performance through coaches being able to analyse the individual little motions that are performed throughout the course of a performance, as well as with it being able to be performed live as well. They can then get that impact out onto the player, who will then be able to adapt their form in the middle of the performance and help to reduce the risk of them getting injured during the live performance. However, there is the major challenge that comes with this level, being the cost and accessibility of this technology, with the highest quality of the previous mentioned Hudl Sports Code costing a variety from around £3,300 a year per team, making it quite hard to access for professional clubs and coaches who will have to compile multiple different performance analysis software together, paying for all of them to be able to afford to have that highest level in this with minimal funding, making it hard to access this high quality software and resulting in them choosing cheaper alternatives that might not offer the same quality, it might not offer the same data breakdowns, and it might just not offer the same sort of individual aspects that the highest level can offer, which gives them a negative disadvantage against other teams who have the ability to afford that sort of software. And that was all referenced from Butterworth in 2023. Now, I hope you have learnt something about either piece of technology with this, as to whether the benefits or the negatives of them, or the potential challenges that might come from both, or hope you've learned how coaches might use this information with the trainers, with the players, and just be able to create a much safer program for the players based on the data that they compile here, just to better suit a performance, better suit how the athlete lives in general, and to just better suit the overall quality of everything within that goes into training programs and high level performances. Thank you for watching. The reference list for this video is on the notes that are also submitted, with the link to the video as well as the notes that I've made for it.